Alrighty. Hey, Diane.
Hello.
So we have Diane who has graciously agreed to share her story of working with LNA Wellness, going through gut rehab, and just what her experience has been like. I have the insight of I've worked with Diane one-on-one now for 3 months, and where she was 3 months ago, 4 months ago, to where she is now, it's kind of insane. This is what we see every single day in gut rehab. And so we're just going to talk a little bit about your journey and give people a little bit of insight into what this was all about, and um, really just showcase that it's so possible, and it doesn't have to take years and years and years of DIYing and stuff. But I think the first thing we just want to start off with, people know me, my story, at least if they're watching this. Like, could you fill us in a little bit on just like who you are, and where were you before doing gut rehab? Like, what was the struggle? What was going on? We have time, so start wherever.
Yeah. So before I started gut rehab, well, first and foremost, I'm married, I'm a mom,
Mm.
um, to a teenager. And so before I started the gut rehab, I had lived a life of just deprivation with food, um, with mindset, and with emotion. I literally was just a ball of mess. I was physically, after I would eat, I would be bloated. I would hold on to, excess inflammation and gas, and it wouldn't matter what I would eat. It could
Mhm.
be healthy, it could be vegetables, it could be protein, it could be whatever, nuts, seeds, salads, all the things. Um, it would cause distress, huge distress, physically, and cause bowel issues, with constipation and not being able to go, and the pain
Mm.
in the stomach after I would eat was, I mean, I can't even explain how much pain. It was like a knife jabbing like
And
into my stomach
let me just pause you. How long were you dealing with this again? Like, how long were you dealing with the gut issues?
for, my gosh, I would say really bad for about 7 years.
I mean,
But really since I've been like 18 years old and I'm 40. So it's been a very long time.
and that's huge. I think that's huge to point out because um I know when I was going through my stuff, when you deal with it for even just a year, for 3 months, no matter how bad it gets, it almost becomes our normal.
Yep.
Like, this is just how it is. And it doesn't help when you go to doctors that we love them for what they do, and we end up with diagnoses and not like a solid plan on how to get better. And can you share a little bit about that? Like, had you gone the medical route? Like, what had you done there? And like, medication or any of that, like, was that a part of your life? Like, just fill us in a little bit there
Yeah.
before we are.
Yep. So yes, I was through doctors and doctors and doctors. I had went to 3 or 4 gastroenterologists. I had gone through 2 endoscopies. I have gone through a colonoscopy. I've gone through testing like breath test. I've gone through stool sample test. I've gone through
Mm.
SIBO testing. I've done it all. I was on Linzess, which was, medicine that literally helps you go to the bathroom. I was on a really expensive probiotic. I was on antidepressants. I was on anti-anxiety medication.
Mm.
Um, I was, at psychiatrist. I was dealing with endocrinologists because of hypothyroidism. I literally had a specialist for literally every single thing,
Everything.
everything. Even a dermatologist for cystic acne, like
Oh man.
everything,
And
everything.
at that point, like you've been dealing with for years, but had you thought about like what had you thought like what it would be like what am I trying to say? What did you think it would take to be able to like resolve these issues? You know, like
Yeah, honestly, I didn't think that there was anything out there ever. I had no hope. I had absolutely no hope that any of these issues would be resolved. Nothing. There
and
was
that's so
nothing
fair.
out there.
And that's so fair when you're on multiple medications and all the things. And I want to just emphasize, I in my practice, I'm not anti-medication. I'm just anti um band-aids that are keeping you away from your healthy self and
Exactly.
causing more side effects, right? So we're not here to
Yep.
shame medication. I've been on many myself. I think it's super relatable to share that. So then wait, no hope. So then you find out about gut rehab or LNA. What drew you? What drew you to even one want to jump on a call with our practice, and two, like what even made you interested if you were in that state? What drew you?
I, for the first time, like I didn't have anything to lose. Like I had nothing to lose. The only thing I could do was maybe gain some knowledge. Like I had nothing to lose at that point. And I really was just at a breaking point, at a complete breaking point. And it was to the point of, you know, getting information from, all over the place and, from doctors and then also, people that are telling me this or that, or like, oh, this is the best way to eat and this is the best way, to do whatever. And I was like, you know what? I am going to do it because I felt like I was being seen, I was being heard
Mm,
and relatable. For the first time, somebody was listening to me and that they understood and validated everything that I was saying.
mm. I remember that first convo. I remember that first convo, and I relate really deeply. And I think you just said two really important things. One, before we even talk about that relatability piece, was the fact that you were actively, even though you're feeling, oh, there's no hope, you were actively trying to fix this, like because you're consuming all this information. And I think we live in a time right now. We have so much information available to us. Go on TikTok, go on Instagram, go on YouTube, go to your doctor, go to a practitioner, and there's so much information. But what I find, like with someone like yourself, like me, women and men who are in the mindset of like, this sucks, but I still am trying. We can get into the hamster wheel of consuming more and more information.
Yep.
I remember on our first call, me explaining it's like, that's all fine, but information isn't going to equal transformation,
Yes.
especially when there's a complex issue going on where it's not just a stomach ache, gut issues, the skin, the mental health, all the different things. It's like, is consuming more information going to get you from A to B, or is it just adding more clutter? So I just think it's so important to point out, like you were in that state, and that's the state that so many men and women who come through gut rehab start at, where they're like, how do I know so much and I feel so bad?
It's exactly where I came in with. I knew so much and I had consumed so much information. And it was like, okay, well, this should be working and this should be working and this should be working, but no, that's better and this is better. And like I knew a lot and I was doing the things that I thought that was going to get me to feel better and it didn't.
And you're a personal trainer. I mean, like
Yeah.
you literally, and I think this is also so big. there's also this, I think I had this misconception when I was dealing with my gut issues, like the worst of the worst. I felt like I was an outlier because there I
Yes.
was. I had recovered from disordered eating, which I know that's history of dieting, disordered eating. I
Yep.
recovered from that. And so now I was like trying to live this healthy lifestyle and I had gut issues. Meanwhile, people that I saw around me who could eat, whatever they want were having gut issues. And so that made me think that something was really wrong with me if I was eating healthy and working out and I had gut issues. There's a misconception there about that gut issues are like exclusive to just, eating essentially processed foods all the time.
Right.
You were not coming in like that. Could you give us a little
No.
into how you were eating
Yeah,
like before you
absolutely.
started? Yeah.
Yeah. So I was mainly focusing in on veggies. Like I literally would have veggies at every single meal, raw, lots of salads, lots of seeds, lots of nuts, lots of fruit. I was incorporating fermented foods. I was drinking just water. I mean, I literally like even like,
All the right things.
yeah,
All the right things.
all the right things, beans and you name it, like all the healthy stuff, right? Healthy stuff.
Healthy. And this is so big, and I want to point this out where we're not um I had you say that because again, so many people out there who are suffering with gut issues, actually weight issues, skin issues, hormone issues, they're going hard on this plant-based stuff. And I love vegetables, love them. I actually love the taste of them, and I think they're great. Um, but what people don't realize is like gut health information, variety, plants, all of that, that is separate from gut healing information. They're two different things. If your gut is fine, go crazy with the veg if you feel fine. But if it's in a state of distress, we got to go the gut healing route. And that's a very different kind of way of eating for a little while until your gut repairs, gains its strength, and you're back up and running. And then we can start bringing those things back in. But I just think that's so important to note because it's kind of a shocker for a lot of
Yeah.
who are trying so hard. So anyways, thanks for sharing that. And then you're just saying the whole feeling heard, seen piece. I want to just say like something I feel like is missing oftentimes when we're going to the doctor or going even to a naturopath, whatever it is, people who have the best of intentions, what's not at the forefront of helping somebody regain their health or get the body they want, whatever it is this connection piece and really being able to relate on a woman to woman human level where this is more than just like, hey, don't eat this, eat that. This is I understand what you've gone through, or I'm going to try to relate to what you've gone through, and I get that it's not that easy. And there's something about, I feel like, being validated in that way that for me, when I started healing, I realized like just that being heard and somebody understanding that it wasn't just as easy as eating more vegetables or drinking more water, that gave me this kind of trust factor in that I feel heard and seen. And so we do that with every single one of our clients because
Yes.
at the end of the day, I believe that's what we're here to do on this one life is connect with each other and help each other. I just so happen to do it as my profession now, but I think it's a key piece to healing, which is why I think even going on YouTube, even sitting in an office for 20 minutes, we can feel a little bit thirsty for more because we're
Absolutely.
seeking that. But do you get what I've gone through? So anyways, that's all happening then during our first call. And you decide to go forward with gut rehab. Do you remember, aside from just being like you have nothing to lose, was there anything about the program itself that you were drawn to when I explained it initially? Anything you can remember? I know it's been a minute ago.
Yeah. Um, I would have to say the simplicity of the program. Um, I came in thinking like I have to, make this gourmet, meal, and I have to incorporate like all of these different foods and variety, variety, variety. And literally like grocery bill was like up, and I mean, it was just unreal. I was causing myself more distress. And the simplicity of the gut rehab was like, this is it.
Yeah, I remember. I
Like,
I
what?
remember. No, and it's I'm so glad you said that. Just a little side note. Um, I talk about simplicity a lot on social media in terms of just why I think it's so helpful when you're coming from the state of overwhelm to go simple with diet, go simple with supplements, all of that. I think what's funny though to note the original reason why I went so simple in my own journey was actually because I have ADHD. And I put that out there to say, I know there's many people out there who, whether you have diagnosed or undiagnosed ADHD, life is overwhelming. And you could be smart, you could be driven, you could be all the things and actually, be very high functioning, but get overwhelmed quickly. That was me.
Yes.
Okay, now I run a practice and you find ways to get around that. But know that was like my first mentality behind how do I simplify this process for myself. But then what I think is really comforting to know, beyond it just feeling better, is when the body is stressed, gut issues, skin issues, weight issues, it's overwhelmed. It's saying I am overwhelmed. It's like a computer that's I'm what is the word? It's like it's overdoing it. It's like heating up.
Over processing
There
in
we
a
go.
way.
Yeah, over
Yeah.
processing. And so what do you want to do when a machine is like that or a computer's doing that? Add more information, aka more supplements, more random food.
Right.
No, we want to
No.
simplify things and calm it down. So from a physiological perspective, it also just makes sense for healing. So I thought we'd point that out.
Yeah.
Um, then flash forward, you're in gut rehab, it's 3 months. Do you remember like when you started to see changes in like bloating, the bowel issues, all of that? I mean, mind you, 7 years,
Yeah.
and then some, and on multiple medications and things. Like, do you remember when you started to see changes?
Yeah. Literally, like after the first day. After the
Oh,
first day of following the gut rehab and like just eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner, that, foods that literally,
you could digest.
yeah, that like I literally could digest. I I remember at the end of that night, I'll never forget this moment. After dinner, I would normally leave dinner before I got rehab feeling so tired and lethargic and bloated and like feeling like I had to put on bigger pants and just like, this is
Yes.
horrible. Like, what did I just, this day? It was just like a repeat. I remember getting up from the kitchen table and looking at my son and my husband, and I'm like, I feel so amazing. I'm like, I feel light. I feel lean. I have energy. I literally, I will never forget that moment, ever forget that moment. Because in that moment, I knew that the gut rehab was literally going to change my life.
Literally day one.
Hmm.
And
Literally day
and I,
one.
and I want to I remember that moment with you, and like honestly, it got me emotional because I feel like, when you're in that and you're in the tornado of what the heck do I do? And when doctors
Yeah.
are not able to help, there's something about someone with a white coat not being able to help that does something to our mind where we go, I'm screwed. Like
Yeah.
that's it. And then
Yeah.
if you are feeling better on the first day. And I want to just point out there's nothing magical going on here. Gut rehab, really, it's combining diet, supplement, mindset, and lifestyle changes that are really rooted in functional medicine. Again, not proclaiming medical advice right now,
Right.
but rooted in functional medicine, which is the study of the root cause of dis-ease and what to do to rebalance that. So you just mentioned the diet piece, but essentially there was other pieces of the puzzle there that we implement along the way, but we start in gut rehab with the lowest hanging fruit, I call it. And that's simplifying everything. And depending on what your situation is like, you were dealing with bloating and bowel issues and all of that.
Yeah.
Very common to see relief in that first day. Again, when things have been tailored to you and the recommendations are coming from I've heard what you're going through.
Yeah.
This equals that. Let's give you a personalized plan, not just tell you eat more plants. Very common. Is that the case with everybody? No, but that's why there's 3 months. That's why there's 3 months. And so knowing that your timeline too, I think what I loved when you came in is I told you this might take a day. It might take the end of month 1.
Right.
You came in with a mindset that was kind of like, time's going to pass anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Might as well do it. But okay. Then just flashing forward, you're already feeling better on kind of day 1. What would you say or I remember, I think it was like the end of month 1 or 2, you started to have some major shifts around like wanting to come off certain medications
Yeah.
and things. Could you just speak to the Linzess a little bit? Because constipation is something that really wreaks havoc on our mental health, I think,
Yeah.
as women. And the Linzess, for everybody watching, it's like that is a prescription laxative. And oftentimes when we get prescribed that, we think that we're going to need it forever and that our bowels are just broken. And you'd been on it for a minute. And so
Yeah.
what happened with the Linzess?
Yeah. So that was the thing. Like, I was told that by a professional that I was going to need to be on this for the rest of my life. And in order to have a bowel movement. And what I was finding as was going through the gut rehab and I was getting deeper and deeper into really healing from the root cause is that the Linzess was actually doing more harm
Remember
to
that?
my body than it was any good at that point. And I remember approaching you and being like, okay, I don't even know if I really need this anymore. And for the first time, it was like, first and foremost, that medication costs a gazillion dollars. And
I kind of forgot about that piece.
and I was paying so much money for it. And I never thought in a million years I'd be able to come off of it ever. And I remember approaching you about it, and I'm like, is it possible for like my body to be responding in such a positive way right now and that not even really needing the Linzess? And in that moment, it was like, yeah, it's very well possible, right? Because you're doing the work. Like the work is healing.
See that this is so big, what you're saying. Before I was in this like natural functional space, I was of the mindset, like so many people are, where if your body has an issue, it just has that issue and it's stuck like that.
Yeah.
That is not based in anything necessarily scientific. We have too much evidence to suggest that the body's a healing machine. But the issue is just our medical system and things have kind of set us up to think like, oh my gosh, I'm broken now, I need medication. Medications can be a nice bridge for us to find a little bit of relief. But that shock and that question when you came to me, is it possible? I've been on the other side for a minute now. So I go thinking like, yeah, it's possible. Like your body is just healing. Like, yes. But I think that is just shining a light on kind of how dysfunctional the outside is when
Yeah.
we're getting diagnoses and we think, and I'll tell you, your situation with the gut stuff, but we work with psoriasis, we work with adult acne, but I'm just zooming on psoriasis really quick because that's an autoimmune based condition. And oftentimes when we get diagnosed with that, I have it myself, and I actually have can't see now, but I have the like marks on my stomach from like where it's I actually show you here.
Oh
I
yeah.
have it all over my back too. And when you're diagnosed with something like that in Western medicine, it's like take steroids, put these creams on, you're gonna have it forever.
Yeah.
Sure. So tell me why mine's in remission. Okay. And we do that all the time with clients. And it's not magic. It is addressing the root cause and giving your body more of what it needs and less of what it doesn't. Um, but yeah, just thought that was really important. Such a valid feeling to go. Is it possible that I feel
Yeah.
like is that possible? Totally valid feeling, but it was, and I'll say I never tell people to get on or off medication
Mm-hmm.
because that's not my scope of practice. I'm really just a guide, and everybody who works LNA, we're just guides to helping you actually step into your power and decide what's going to be best for you. Had you decided to stay on it, would have been just as supportive, but always going
Right.
to be pushing you to what makes sense for you. And
Right.
it's not going to just make you feel better, but allow you to live your most aligned life and best self. So, did you come off the Linzess completely?
Yes, I'm off of Linzess, haven't been on it. I feel amazing. I have normal bowel movements like a normal person. Yeah, without any Linzess that supposedly I was supposed to be on for the rest of my life.
Forever.
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 But yeah, no. So, anyways, now flashing forward, was there anything within GR, outside of diet and supplements? I think when people come and they see I'm a clinical nutritionist and they're like, okay, it's just gonna be a diet program. There's so many different pieces that were a part of it, despite it being so simple. Is there anything that you look back on now and were like, wow, I didn't realize that this was such a big part of it? Or like this was just like a surprising part of the program?
Yeah. For me, it was really um mindset and emotions.
Mm,
Literally. I found that as I was healing physically, literally it led to me healing mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. It was like the like base, the roots of a plant
yeah.
that just led to like really healing in all of those other, states of being. And, when I say mentally, I mean, I came in with like horrible anxiety. I mean, that horrible anxiety and, quote unquote, have been dealing with anxiety and on medication since I've been 18 years old and I'm 40 and
And that could have been,
antidepressants.
and sorry to cut you off, but that could have
No,
also been like a barrier for you even doing this, is that we can think that because the mental side of things is so strong that am I in a good place to do this? Like, do I have to be in a
yeah,
better mindset? And like, do I have to basically be perfect before I do this thing? And I feel like you're just like the perfect example of someone who's like, I'm dealing with all these things,
mhm,
but like, in order to get out of that, I have to try something else.
right. And I came in like not just dealing with, bloat and gas. I came in with dealing more than that. Like I was dealing with anxiety, I was dealing with depression, I was dealing with hypothyroidism. I mean, I was dealing with a lot of that, a lot of emotion, a lot of emotion. And honestly, when I first started and I started healing physically, it was like I cannot tell you the way that I started to like change mentally. I mean, it has been a night and day difference to the point that now I took initiative to go to my psychiatrist and ask to come off and start wean to come off of my anti-anxiety meds.
I didn't say
No,
any of that.
no, no. That was strictly me. Like, it just, I felt like I didn't need them anymore. There is something about the gut rehab that really,
A mind gut connection.
yeah,
People talk about it and we can read about it. But I think, what we go dive into in gut rehab is the mind gut connection is not this like ethereal idea. When our gut is off, when our center is off, it has its own nervous system. Our gut has its own nervous system that's connected to our central nervous system. So it only makes sense that if they're connected like this, if our enteric gut nervous system is all off and it's communicating to the other part, we're going to feel off up there. But because we don't see inside and our emotions can feel so big, we think of it as all in our head. But what I love that you pointed out and highlighting this point that's so awesome. People ask, like, how, when people see the testimonials I put up there or put on social media, it's like anxiety, depression, like, how's all that stuff getting resolved? And it's nothing, again, nothing magical. It's that our physical health, gut issues, hormones, all of that directly impacts our brain. This is not an idea. This is science. And so when we know that and we're feeling all out of sorts, we can make the choice to go to rebalance the physical, like you do in gut rehab.
yeah,
And then a natural result is a lessening or a complete resolution of some of these really overwhelming mental symptoms. But I think what's so beautiful is we don't have to do all the things. We can start with one, and that can be the gut, get you physically feeling better. And then now shifting towards the end, I know I want to be so mindful of your time too, is how are you feeling now? Gut stuff. How are you feeling now? Let's start with that. And then two, just like life-wise, like what has shifted for you? Let's start with just the gut stuff. Where are you at? Do you have gut issues? Like, what's going on? Tell us.
I honestly feel like a completely different woman. Completely different woman. Life is so simple. It is so much less complicated. I mean, I literally feel a sense of freedom,
Mm,
literally a sense of freedom. And the gut issues, it's like, no, wait, what is a gut issue right now? Like, I mean, honestly, I don't experience hardly anything. And if I do, I know that something is off. Something
mm.
is off. And it
Versus,
could,
I think that's so big what you just said.
yeah,
Because things can come up.
yep,
What gut rehab, what I love about it, it's not just like this plug and play, do this and you'll never have a symptom again. It's we're resolving things, but you have a human body.
yeah,
So if something comes up, you know how to deal with it.
exactly. Yeah. But the gut stuff, I tell you, it's bloat is like no longer. I mean, I have like defined abs where I'm like, where, like, what? Where, coming in, I thought I already did, but apparently I didn't. And inflammation wise, that was huge,
Did you lose
huge
like
for
10
me.
pounds?
I did. I lost 10 pounds and literally 10 pounds. It was inflammation. Yeah. Inflammation. And I came into this not even expecting to lose any weight. I just didn't want it to be bloated and
I,
gassy.
I literally remember you sending a picture of the scale, and I'm not usually a big like
Yeah.
scale person, but I think it does show us tangible data around the fact that your body was holding on to stuff that never belonged in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah. And I even took photos of myself, like,
I mean,
photos before and
yes.
after. And I literally looked at those and I was like, are you kidding me right now? Like, I mean, you could just see the inflammation in the before compared to like, 90 days in. And, I'm past those 90 days and I still feel that way. I still feel like on the last day, it doesn't go away.
And that's what we're doing this for. Honestly, that's why it's 3 months and not a 21 day,
Right?
whatever, and I want to, I just have to affirm, like, you did all of it. And everybody who comes through this, y'all are doing it. You're making the changes. And it draws a certain kind of personality who's willing to make changes, not being perfect, but just willing to take ownership of your health with a plan, with a
Yeah.
strategy, and with guidance. I want to, like, that in of itself, like, just seeing you step into, like, I got this, and like getting to the end where you're doing less question asking and more just like bouncing ideas off of me.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's how I know, as a practitioner, as someone who's created this, it's like that's what I want. I want you to be able to go live your life and like know your body better than
Yeah,
a doctor, right?
exactly.
So that's just been so like, there's no words to describe how incredible it's been to see. The last question I want to ask is, you mentioned the word freedom.
Yeah.
Um, that was a huge thing that um really drew me to make this. Is, yeah, we want to fix feeling like crap. But why? And I think, when you're dealing with these crazy symptoms, you might be able to put on a brave face, and keep showing up. But I remember just feeling so trapped.
Yeah.
Um, where are you now in terms of just your mom, your wife,
Mm-hmm.
and you're a very like, you want to live your best life kind of person? Like, how do you feel now that you're kind of restabilized? What's your next steps? Like, what's happening for you?
Yeah. So I feel like a brand new woman. Absolutely feel like I have come, the woman that I have always meant to be has just been evolved, has been evolved. And I'm walking taller and prouder and more confident as a mom, as a military wife that is new. Like my
Mm,
husband's literally left for the military.
during
And
all of this, mind you,
yes,
Diane,
during all of this.
you did not just do this program when everything was perfectly settled.
No,
You did this in the middle of real life.
yeah, yeah. I did it during real life. My husband got accepted into the military, left. We will not see him till May. I have no communication with him. I have a teenager who deals with PTSD and OCD. And so I'm dealing with, a lot of that with him. There's a lot going on, a
So
lot going on.
you needed to be your true healthiest best self.
Yes, I needed to. I absolutely, hands down, needed to. Yep, absolutely. And this has led me to realize, like, even career wise, like what I want to do with my life. And it led me to a lot of like big emotion of, you know what? My like my past career was, and even my past job or the past company that I work for, it was causing so much stress. And we all have a choice.
Mm,
And my choice is to follow what my heart is telling me to do. And my heart is telling me to pay this forward, to pay what I have gone through forward. And just to, and I remember I told you this, I said, before I even like came into the gut rehab, I wanted a career or a job in which I could literally let other women know, other people know that they do not have to feel stuck,
mm. I remember you.
that they
I
too can get
remember
out of it.
something inside of you, like I call it God. It's definitely God.
Yeah.
Definitely God. Planted that inside of you, and you
Yeah.
followed it. And just wrapping it all up, it's like, yeah, we started talking about gut stuff, and that's fabulous. I'm so glad that you're back in control of your body. But I think what you said at the end, it's what we all want. And you've just showcased that when your physical body is feeling more balanced and stable, and you do it yourself, like you are
Yes.
doing it. You have the guidance, but you are the one who's like making the changes, taking ownership of this, and really learning your body. You step into this whole different feeling of confidence because you've had to learn your body, and that confidence is now getting transferred into all these other areas
Yep.
effortlessly, helping you manage the stuff that's happening in your life, career stuff. It's just like the doors are opening, and it's just been beautiful to watch. Thank you so much, Diane, for
So
sharing this.
welcome.
Seriously, beyond a joy to work with you, but you're going to inspire so many women with this story. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm going to pause this.